Starting out my honorable mentions, last but not least, just my least favorite of the favorites, I Was Made to Love Her. I'm fine calling this my favorite bass line throughout a song, courtesy of James Jamerson, and Stevie's voice is undeniably top tier on this one. Look up soul in the dictionary, this would be the accompanying audio. Stevie's going so hard vocally, you could hear the slight distortion and extra compression throughout. The guitars are cool too, complementing the bass line, and you got a sprinkle of some other sounds, some type of bell, some type of keyboard, I'll call it vibraphone and harpsichord. And then you got the soothing gospel vocals coming in and out at different parts of the song. And I can't forget the tambourines and the bass line and Stevie's vocals during that break. Masterclass. There's no way I can hate on this song. There's a tie for 19th place with True Love and How Will I Know, both from the same album, funny enough, A Time to Love. I grouped these two together because they're essentially the same song, jazz, blues, but great piano work, great vocals. How Can You Believe? This is an instrumental song making my list, but it's still got Stevie's voice written all over it. One of his best works on harmonica, and he's playing it from verse to end, all the way through. I love the intermediate level melody. Shout out to MF Doom for sampling this on Great Day. It's a great choice. Stevie's just so in the pocket with this one. There's not too much to say about the instrumentation, although I do love the bass line. I love the feel of the drums. Everything's very complimentary. Horns, strings, keyboards. Looking for another Pure Love, a very smooth jazzy type of track. Silky, milky keys, an all-time guitar solo from Jeff Beck. Stevie's voice is indescribable, but I'll just say that it's on the softer side overall. He's almost talking. Send When You're Love. This is a pretty complex song, and I keep saying unique, but this is another unique one. Beautiful love song, memorable intro, similar to My Sherry and More, with such a tone-setting, non-verbal melody. I just spoke about hi-hats on the last song. This one has some very different sounding hi-hats. It almost sounds electric, but I think it's just some sort of flanger effect on the hi-hats. Knocks Me Off My Feet, that piano intro and overall pocket, plus the overall bass, particularly at the chorus, a classic line. Smooth vocals from Stevie. I also love the open hi-hats on the chorus / pre-choruses. Do I Do, solid dance track, great energy. The legend Dizzy Gillespie on trumpet. It's hard to not want to get up and dance on this one. And Stevie's giving you some solid vocal work throughout. Props to those guitars and that bass from Nathan Watts. Together doing those instrumental melodies on the chorus. Great musicianship. Plus you got the bass solos and Stevie on harmonica doing his thing on the extended version, which runs about 11 minutes long. Hey Love, this is pre-hip hop, but the drums still got that boom bap flavor. I love the bass hitting with the piano and guitar. Classic old school soul vibe. Christmas song, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. I love the 1967 original, but I'm going with the 2015 one for the tempo and piano work by Stevie. I'm probably always going to choose fast over slow for Christmas music. And it's actually not on a Stevie project, it's on India.Arie's album. Nice little duet. Crying Through the Night. I love a song with no intro. Like, let's just get right to it. Pretty standard 80s instrumentation, but it's a unique track to me. This is one that I just like based off feel, nothing particularly special. I love the major 7, minor 7 chord choices. Rounding out my top 10 is All I Do. I love how the drums hit throughout with the Rhodes keys, plus the bass line poking out in between the drum hits. Shout out to Michael Jackson and the OJs on background vocals. Not a complicated song, but beautiful nonetheless. Pretty chords, strong vocals, amazing sax solo, timeless. Kulela es una historia. I Am Singing. This could be one of the most unique songs there is. It blends multiple genres. There's some type of mix of Latin and Afro and electro within this song, let alone R&B. Stevie singing different languages. You got Zulu, Spanish, English, all in one song. This is not a translation of a song. It's all in one song. Superwoman, aka Superwoman, Where Were You When I Needed You? It's two completely different songs in one, both dope. You got the nice, smooth, jazzy type of vibe. I love the instrumentation. I love the feel. Stevie singing very soft and subdued throughout, nothing overdone. The second half of the song, also lovely instrumentation. I'm a fan of that drum beat, and Stevie does his thing vocally. He goes real big at this part. The melody is so simple, but it's a subtle major minor shift in each run of the vocals. There's also a solid transition between the two songs. It feels almost like a theater play or something. Seems So Long is my favorite true ballad. Nice and mellow, stripped down musically, slow. It has this haunting synth pad playing in the back, along with a low-key drum set, brush hit on the snare, different cymbals, a complementary kick. Stevie added some organ, some electric keys, and of course bass, which he usually plays on a synth. Vocally, this song is a reference for how to sing vocals. It's impossible how he held the final note, and then the one a little before that at the end of the song. Where did he get the breath from? It's like he was singing on an oxygen tank or something, or had additional lungs and diaphragms put in his body. He's at the end of a very challenging part at the end of the song, and he just goes back to back with these extended belts. I'm good with either version of Until You Come Back to Me, whether Stevie's or Aretha Franklin's, but Stevie's is super 60s. It just feels like there's some dust on it. You know, it's nice and seasoned. I love the loosened snare drum, plus the background vocal chord beds throughout. One of my favorite melodies on a song. I love those guitar chops, nice and tight, almost like a reggae song would have it. I also like the guitar following the bass on those turnarounds, nice touch. Stevie's also hitting some type of percussion throughout. I think it's a cowbell, pretty unique. It's not the typical hit on every beat. I just like how it fits the whole groove. I'll Wait For You to Come Home. You really got to do research for this one because it's actually an unreleased Stevie song, but still one of my favorites nonetheless. Classic circle of fifths/fourths done uniquely. There's also something about the rim hits on every beat. Cliche, but it fits. Stevie's doing a lot vocally too. You got to really listen to the leaps and runs that he's doing. And I love the overall instrumentation. Keys, bass, strings, drums, of course. I like the backup vocals that are just riding with the beat. He even sneaks some heavy brass in there. I could just say underrated Stevie song before every song, to be honest, but Never in Your Sun gives me a sense of nostalgia, and I didn't even hear it before the 2010s. Mind you, it came out in the 80s. It's just something about that In Square Circle album for me personally. It connects with my sense of music taste. I love those milky keys that follow the melody. The progression is a full circle of fourths/fifths. If you look at it from the key of A major, starting on an F sharp chord, ending on an A flat chord. So this is a good tool for teaching music theory. Now Stevie's harmonica after the first chorus is my favorite solo, and it's also unique. You're getting a key change and a solo immediately after the first verse. So Stevie basically got right to the point. And there's also this unique electro kick drum and hi-hat pattern. It kind of reminds me of Dougie Fresh with his beatboxing sounds, particularly that shaker-like sound with him and Slick Rick. Tuesday Heartbreak, another underrated classic from Stevie. What a groove, funk, crazy guitar-like clavs. Stevie is the GOAT at a lot of things, but particularly playing the clavinet and incorporating layers of them at one time. You got David Sanborn on that chorus, alto sax. Pretty cool sound. It sounds like there's a little flanger or something on it. I think it's ahead of its time in the early 70s. Golden Lady might be the most underrated song in history. It also has a unique pre-chorus as well as chorus that just sort of descends until it reaches those sexy A flat and G major 7th chords. You could listen to that all day. It has an interesting drum pattern, particularly on the hi-hats. It's actually pretty tough to play exactly the way Stevie played it. If you combine the way he sang on the hi-hats with the kick drum and the snare. Great chord progression, I love the bass line, the synths, the organ, the modulations. Stevie needs to be considered one of the greatest bass players from all of the synth work he uses as the bass. And a lot of times you wouldn't even know that someone wasn't playing an actual bass guitar. My Sherry and More, my favorite song of all time, any artist. Technically my favorite ballad also, but it's not quite a ballad, it's slightly up-tempo. It's a simple song overall, but Stevie-fied. It has about the catchiest intro ever. Great instrumentation. You got flute, strings, keys, guitar, James Jamerson on bass. I love that shuffling drum beat. Overall, it's such a dynamic and active arrangement for a song that's less than 3 minutes. And a few underrated things. The chords, I love that A flat augmented right before the first verse that turns into an A flat major 7 flat 9 or A half diminished over A flat right before the second verse. The way the guitar and piano fills in between Stevie's vocals, real pretty and subtle. Of course, there's the beautiful strings runs right before each verse turnaround. It's a real unique song in that there's no real chorus. The hook is kind of in the verses, but the second verse key change barely has Sherry and More as Stevie drops the my. He says, oh, Sherry and More. My only critique of the song is the title. It should be Ma or Mon Chéri Amour if we're going proper French, or call it La 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 La, the main refrain. But scratch all that, it's perfect. Don't touch it, doesn't need any covers. I guarantee that my top 10 and in turn top 20 Stevie songs of all time are going to be different from everyone in the world, but prove me wrong about what I chose. I'd love to hear your list. Send it to the comments. Thank you, Stevie.